Our series begins with Lynn, whose engagement is today, entering the hall and making a call to her friends at work, telling them she is getting engaged, so they should take leave for her, and she goes to greet her wicked mother-in-law, and goes to her mother, who tells her not to worry, her family will honor her, and this hall is on their expense. And when she holds the bag in her mother's hand, she tells her these are her life savings and her engagement gift, promising to make her proud. Then she goes to connect the laptop to the screen to play songs and such, and she calls her fiance, but he does not answer her. And when she steps away a bit from the laptop, a child comes and plays with it, accidentally playing a voice note from her fiance where he says he is not coming to the engagement and they must cancel everything and break up. The jerk fiance, meaning everyone is shocked and she stands there humiliated. A month passes and Lynn lives in her house alone, and her friend comes and takes a picture of her to reassure her mother she is still alive, and her friend tells her she will take her to the new place that opened near them, telling her it is a virtual reality game that will separate her from reality, asking what more she wants since she has been sleeping for a month. Anyway, is that right? The sleeping subscribers and the non-subscribers, please subscribe and like the videos. Seriously, subscribe to the channel and like this video and write in the comments where you are watching from. And we continue. Anyway, she takes her and they run to there. And when she hears the ticket price, she asks if she is sure she wants to enter. So she told her she would pay, telling her to be quiet. And they enter the place. And the assistant asks each of them to take a bag and wear the clothes inside. And here, everyone will play the role of a specific character. And they board the train, and they wear the special game glasses. And from the gate, Tuya comes out to receive them, who is committed to the outfit of a specific character, and tells them this city is strange and its inhabitants are stranger, so they should not trust anyone easily. And here Lynn learns that the game duration is 4 hours, so she said that is great, telling them to finish and wake her up. And she goes up to the room to actually sleep, but her rest is disturbed by soldiers knocking and saying they must search the room. And finally she realizes she must read her character and discovers she is a bad character in the novel. Looks like she must escape. There is no sleep. Her character is a famous scientist who just returned from travel and created a formula, but it is banned in this country, and the police are looking for her to imprison her. So she keeps running from the soldiers and enters a restaurant, finding a man sitting with his face unseen, and she eats from the fruit in front of him, and time passes. The waiter in the restaurant comes to her, saying he can help her in exchange for her giving him the formula she has. So she tells him to take it, as she does not understand anything at all. And when the police enter the place, he comes to her again saying never mind, he does not want anything, and the police were about to search Lynn, but this person stands up here, and we see it is Tuya, who appeared at the start of the game, and his role is a high-ranking officer with high status and prestige, telling them no one searches her. She is with him, while the one in front of him is the minister competing with Tuya for the title of master of the city, and Tuya asks her who she wants to go with, so she said with him, and when he leaves, he explains that the waiter put a secret room key on her to frame her for murder and told her to know her goals first, asking her not to just walk aimlessly. The words rang in her ears and her life flashed before her, and she said she gave up every dream she wanted, like studying abroad in the field of architecture, and she did not do so because of her father's illness, and she stayed in her current job, just getting by, staying with her fiancé because he was suitable, not because she loved him. And she said it is the same in reality or imagination, and she gathers her determination and opens the paper to understand more, knowing she can exchange the formula she has for gold, and she goes to ask how to do that. So the woman describes the place where she is supposed to put the formula, and when she does so, the waiter comes of the restaurant to steal from her, but she runs after him and pins him down with a piece of wood, pretending it is a gun, and takes it, and leaves, saying it is useless. She will hand it to the good character, and the good character in the game has a sign that he wears a blue shawl, so she goes and finds Tuya and another one wearing the same shawl, so she is confused. The second time, she decides to trust Tuya and hands him the formula, and he tells her to run to the train station, so she would have executed the mission and won the game. And she runs happily until she takes 2 bullets from behind and actually dies in the game. And when she exits, the assistant tells her that the one who eliminated her from the game was Tuya himself, implying she was incredibly stupid. So she gets a call that there is a problem at her apartment, so she goes and messages her friend that she left. And here we see that Tuya is also an important figure in reality. And the next day, she talks to her friend who explains the whole game to her, because after every game, they gather and analyze the roles. And when she knew that Tuya was the one who gave her the 2 bullets, she said he eliminated her and deceived her while she thanked him naively. So she decides to enter the game again to get revenge, and she actually registers in the game, is the finance minister, and her mission is to sign a contract with Tuya and gain his trust. And here she meets a soldier and distracts him with conversation and takes the medal from him, which is supposed to be the evidence chance that will put him away for good. She became a real pro in the game and sneaks into his office, but thieves hold her up wanting to steal a contract too, and she tries to handle the situation with them, asking what they think about everyone achieving their goal and leaving quietly. But Tuya bursts in on them, and Lin tells him she has not done anything yet, sir. And Tuya orders the soldiers to search his office to see if anything is missing or added, but they find nothing, and we see that Lin did not plant the metal so she would not get caught, as the time was not right. Indeed, she is a demon here, and she continues her role as the finance minister and tells, "See, you wronged me. I would never betray you." They sit together, and when he asks the reason for her presence, she tells him she is the finance minister, and he must sign a contract with her, and she makes a deal with him that if he signs, she will hand him the formula that will make him master of the city. But he told her he is not the one to be bargained with, honey. Then, when he searches her bag, he discovers she does not have the formula or anything, and when he has his men arrest her, she tells him she hid it elsewhere, and if he kills her, no one will know its location, and he will not become master of the city. So he is convinced and releases her, and they agree to meet at the club at night, and on her way, the old minister meets her, kidnaps her, and detains her in a place. And Lin is very annoyed because she has no intention of losing this time, and when Tuya notices she is late, he deduces something happened to her, and he knows who is behind this, so he goes and saves her, and she tells him she will take him right now to the place where the formula is hidden, and they go together, and the old minister comes and arrests Tuya, and we learn it was a plan Lin made with him to hand over Tuya, and she actually wins the game, and Tuya tells her she seems to understand things. Then she gets a call from her manager refusing her leave, so the next day she goes and speaks to him, saying, "Brother, isn't it enough I have been working with you for 3 years as an assistant manager, and you refuse to transfer me to the design department even though I am a great engineer, and this is my field?" When she leaves, she remembers Tuya's words when he told her she must know what she wants to do, so she turns back and tells the manager, "Listen here, man, I am not coming back to this slavery job again," and she goes to tell her friend, saying from today she will be a new person and will go achieve her dreams and start in the design department as a junior engineer, and she tells her she will join the game again because she won last time and liked it a lot. And when she registers, she finds Tuya's role was taken by someone else, and she wins the round with him easily. And when she exits, she asks about his schedule, but the assistant tells her he has no fixed schedule and is a mysterious character whom no one knows anything about. And here we learn why he stopped joining the game regularly, and this is because he was looking for a new apartment to rent, and he was sitting with this friend of his, and we also learn that he and his friend are actually the owners of the game. Then he tells him a girl came and asked about his registration times, and the next day Tuya goes to look for an apartment to rent, and there he meets Lin's father and mother, and her mother-in-law too, who came demanding the gifts of her son, and her mother tells her, "What gifts? You are supposed to give us money, the money for the hall we paid." And the man, who is supposed to rent the apartment to Tuya, tells him, "Keep this between us, this girl's fiancé left her on her engagement day in front of everyone in a very dirty way." And Lin arrives and tells her mother-in-law, "The problem is not me, really, dear. My problem is just my bad luck that made me fall for your ungrateful son." And she enters and sits with her family, noticing her father is tired and his leg hurts, so she does not want to pressure him by saying she quit her job too, so she gets up to walk by the Nile, and Tuya was in that same place there, but they do not see each other. And the next day, Lin is preparing a CV to start applying for a new job, but she does not know what to write in it since she has been stuck for 3 years in the old job without any new experience. And at this time, her friend calls her and tells her that today they are holding a celebration and all members participating in the game will be there, and surely Tuya will be with them, and she gets ready and goes to the celebration quickly, but she does not find Tuya there, and later she finds out he will play a new round, so she leaves her friends and runs to log in, but there is only one character left because she was late, so she takes it and enters, and her role is the detective who is supposed to arrest Tuya, and she goes to his office and starts spying on him, and he senses her and is about to catch her, but she manages to escape from him and goes to the hotel and asks the reception for his apartment key, and she goes to the house and notices it looks different and knows the game has had updates, so she shrugs it off, saying she does not care about updates. She enters but is terrified because it is designed like a haunted house, and Tuya comes to her, so she gathers her strength and handcuffs him, and they walk, and on their way a ghost appears, and when he finishes it off, butterflies come out. So she says, "Wow, one more," and they forget the game and think they are in an amusement park, but he knows how to trick her, and he undoes the handcuffs and wins the round. So let the butterflies help you now. And when he finishes, he goes to his friend and says to him, "No more scary updates because some subscribers don't like horror." And outside, it is raining. So Lin sees Tuya and approaches him to share the umbrella, but he ignores her coldly and takes an umbrella from the assistant and leaves. And the next day, she is sitting with her friend complaining that she cannot find anything to write in this CV as it has no features and no one will ever accept her like this. And her money is running out while she hasn't started work yet. So her friend suggests she rent out her apartment here, and later she goes to the supermarket to buy things. And there she meets Tuya, but he ignores her even worse than before. So she gets annoyed and keeps walking behind him, and he stops suddenly asking why she is following him. Then he gets furious when he learns she lives on the same street here, and she enters her house angry and hears that he wants to rent an apartment and no one agrees to rent to him. So she goes out and drops a hint that she wants to rent her apartment. And at the end of the day, Tuya is talking to his friend, and we learn that he is not acting like a rich person but wants to rent in a popular area so no one knows him and keeps chasing him. So he tells him Lynn refuses to have a broker. So he told him, fine, I will meet her myself and finalize things with her. And the next day, Lynn is with her friend at home, and she starts preparing the room she will offer for rent. Then a request comes to her, and it is Tuya's friend. So she starts showing him the house, while Tuya is on a video call evaluating with him. And Tuya's friend tells her he only wants to rent for 3 months, and she can leave her things as they are, and he will also pay her as much as she likes and a bit more. So she is shocked with joy and runs to her friend, telling her the moment she signed the contract, the money hit her account immediately, and she must start fresh now on a clean slate. And on the other side, Tuya is gathering his things from his room to move into the new apartment. And the next day, Lynn's friend calls her, telling her she will start working at the cafe today and must bring her ID. So she remembers she forgot it in the apartment yesterday. So she goes there and says from behind the door that she just needs her ID, while Tuya sits there wondering where to go or hide. So he hands her the ID from behind the door and tells her, sorry, but I have allergies. So she goes to get him allergy medicine and leaves it for him at the door and informs him, then leaves. And at the cafe, there is a takeaway order, and when she goes to deliver it, she sees Tuya's friend on her way getting out of a very, very luxurious car, pretending that he is the one renting from her, not Tuya. And she also learns he is the owner of the game she participates in. So she says to herself, why would a rich person like him need to rent her house? And when she puts him under surveillance and goes to her apartment, she sees that Tuya is the one in the apartment and he is the real tenant. And she returns home, turning the matter over in her head, thinking how he is hiding from her. So she does not know. So she does not sleep from overthinking and keeps tossing and turning like a fish. And the next day, she goes to the apartment and calls out to bring a bed up to the room to replace the broken one. But Tuya tells her from behind the door that he will change it himself. She shouldn't worry. But she told him, no, how can that be? I brought workers, specially to install it. And at that moment, Tuya has his friend call her to apologize, saying he had to leave suddenly. And he comes jumping from the balcony to enter the room. Tuya hides in the closet, and she comes up with the excuse of installing the bed, but she wants to catch Tuya. And just as she is about to open the closet, she gets a call from her mother. So she is forced to leave immediately and goes to sit with them. And they keep talking to her about the job she left while they don't know. And at that moment, she gets a call from a company to come for an interview tomorrow. And the next day, Lynn calls Tuya's friend asking to come to the house to take something of hers. And when he hangs up with her, he calls Tuya to inform him. And Tuya tells him, I will tell her everything, brother, because this lying turned out to be exhausting, honestly. Then he finds books and designs belonging to Lynn in front of him and is surprised that she is an architect like him. But his friend tells him her professional file was all administrative work, asking how she is an engineer and since when. Then she gets a message that he left the key for her under the rug, and she enters to take her things and leaves. And the next day she goes to the interview appointment and is very happy with the company because it is big and famous, and she cannot believe herself. But in the interview, the woman tells her she will put her in the administrative department because her experience is high in that department and she shouldn't leave her safety zone and change her field suddenly. So Lynn tells her that her main field is being an architect and she does not want to give that up again, and she leaves frustrated. Meanwhile, Tuya has the neighbors gathered around him thinking he is a thief, and no one believes him. But Lynn comes and hits the man on his head with her bag and stands to defend him. And when they go inside, Tuya thanks her and asks her to go out a bit to talk. So she tells him there is no need to apologize. She knows they were tricking her and knows why he wants to hide his real identity from her. But reality is different from the game, and she tells him what happened to her in the job interview and how they didn't care about her design. So he told her that he actually saw it and thinks it is very distinctive, and tomorrow she will find a place that appreciates her. And when she returns, she messages the company leaving them a note that she wants to be an architect and does not want administrative work, while Tuya is sitting looking at her design, clearly admiring her very much. And the next day, Lynn is sitting at her friend's place, bemoaning her luck over what is happening to her, and she gets a call from her family that they are at her house right now coming for a visit. So she runs very fast to catch them before they arrive because she still hasn't told them she rented out the apartment, and she stands flustered in front of the door stalling, telling them she forgot the key. Then her mother stands up, taking a key out of her bag, and Lynn opens the door saying to them, "I will open the door now, Mom," hoping Tuya would hear. So she opens the door and tries to gather anything belonging to him that she sees, and she calls him many times, but her phone dies. As for Tuya, he is at the company with his friend, telling him that Lynn called him 10 times, so he takes the phone from him and calls her, but finds her phone off, and he tells him, "I left her my number. She won't call you again," and leaves. We return to Lynn. Her family is staying longer and even staying for dinner, so Lynn goes out and writes a note, "Please do not enter," and sticks it on the house. Then her family asks her to bring something from the supermarket, and as she is about to go out, Tuya is actually standing outside with the note in his hand trying to comprehend it, so she pulls him aside and tells him, "Cover for me. May God cover for you. My family is here, and I haven't told them I rented out the apartment." And at that moment her father and mother come out, so she tells them, "No, this is just a normal work colleague," and they sit to eat together. But Lynn snatches the bite from the poor guy's mouth, telling them, "We are full," and takes him and leaves. And while they are drinking something together, she gets a call from the company she applied to, asking her to come tomorrow for an interview in the design department. So she jumps with joy, and Tuya asks her, "What will you do when you get accepted?" "It's just an interview." So the next day she goes to have the interview and enters the office, finding Tuya sitting in the chair, and she is shocked when she learns he is the owner of the company. Then the manager starts asking her and is very impressed with her answers, and Tuya makes her describe the design in her hand and tells her that the beautiful shape of the architectural structure is not everything. "So can you tell me what the fatal mistake in it is?" So she removes a piece of it and it all collapses, and she says, "I thought style and distinction were the most important thing in an engineer's designs, but later I understood that a strong foundation and human safety are the most important thing." Then Tuya remembers when he was a child when a hotel collapsed because the construction company used substandard and unlicensed materials, which led to its collapse, and he stood crying in front of the hotel. Then he looked tired, and when the manager noticed that, she told her they would reply within 3 days, and she leaves the company saying to herself, "It doesn't matter how many clowns are in this world. What matters is that I am the biggest one of them." Then the manager comes and tells him she entered the hotel project competition, so he tells her he is confident her design will win, but she is just afraid of the competitor facing them and doesn't want him to enter a losing battle. Later, he returns home finding her waiting at the door to renew the lease. Then they discuss that she is hiding the matter from her family, and what happened last time might happen again, and she tells him they are stressed enough and she doesn't want to worry them more. Then she realizes she got a bit too comfortable, so she gets upset, apologizes to him, leaves, and calls her friend telling her, "I ruined this job too," and she meets her and tells her that the owner of this company is the same tenant of hers who participates with them in the game, and her friend consoles her telling her, "He refused now, but he might accept you later," she told her. "No, it seems I have no future with him." And at that very moment she gets an email from the company with the acceptance, and she cannot believe herself. And the next day she goes to the company to start work, and the secretary starts introducing her to the place and her colleagues, and as soon as Tuya enters, she gets flustered, and her colleague tells her, "Calm your nerves, I mean. He doesn't bite," so she told him, "No, actually you don't understand. There was a misunderstanding between us, and I don't know if I should apologize or what." So he was surprised. "When did this misunderstanding happen?" "This is your first day, girl." Then Tuya came and told her to come to his office, and when she enters, he hands her the project they are currently working on, and the manager comes telling her there is a work dinner at night to welcome her as a new employee with them, and they stay up together, but she acts like she can handle a lot, overdoes it a bit with the juice, and passes out right there, and the manager says she will drive her home. But Tuya imagines when the employees go to the house and see his things and discover they are living together, so he quickly says, "I will drive her, I am better," and takes her in his car, and she is completely out of it, and he drives her home, brings her in with him out of pity, puts her to sleep, and goes up wanting to take a shower. And after thinking about the matter, he feels he must lock the door on himself, and he finishes and sits to work while she wakes up not understanding where she is and who brought her here. So she goes up to his room and tells him, "I drank a little. I don't know how I got here." He told her, "I know, but the problem now is the door lock is jammed and won't open, and I am thirsty," she asked him. Did you lock the door on yourself because you are afraid of me? He told her. You didn't. See yourself, how you were acting. Anyway, she goes down to the lower floor and hands him water with a stick from below, and they sit talking about the project competition, and she tells him, I am confident your company will win. And the next day she is late for work, and Tuya takes her with him in the car, and she sees her colleague outside the company, so she hides, and he is surprised, and she tells him, do you want them to say I got accepted through nepotism? And she makes him park far away and enters, the company finding him right behind her, saying, didn't I tell you to enter a while after me? Later, news spreads involving Tuya's name in the media, and the manager tells him that someone did this on purpose, specifically to change their participation in the competition. But mostly, Tuya knows who it is, and at the end of the day, he is in his office and gets a call from his mother, and he seems to have quite a grudge against her, and she checks on him because of the news spreading about him and tells him, deal with your problems calmly, don't be like your father. Then he has a flashback to the day of the accident, accusing his father of the hotel collapse because he was the engineer responsible for it, and his father ended his life because of the people's attack. And when Tuya grew a bit older, someone met him and told him he must grow up and prove himself in the field to be able to reveal all the threads to the people and show the truth. And the next day in the office, the employees want to withdraw from the project. Unlike Lin, who finished the task Tuya assigned her and hands it to the manager, telling her, come with us to the interview. And while they are in the car, she looks at the designs that made, and she is impressed by them. And they go to meet the head of the company responsible for building the hotel, who organized the competition in the first place. And they remain waiting for him in the office, but he is very late and does not come. So Tuya decides to leave and not wait any longer. And Lin goes to get the driver. And Tuya asks the manager why she brought Lin along. She told him because she is very intelligent and also hardworking. And she shows him her designs, so he is dazzled by them too. And on the way, he asks her to come with him on an errand. And he goes to meet a man at work to mediate for him to meet the hotel president. So he invites him to his daughter's wedding. And at the end of the week, he takes Lin with him to the wedding party, which is held on an island, and they go to greet the bride. Then the groom comes from behind them, and the bride calls him by the name of Lin's old fiance. So she is shocked and looks behind her and finds it is actually him. Immediately, all their memories together flash before her, and the groom greets Tuya, and as soon as he sees Lin, he is shocked too, and her stomach turns and she steps away, and Tuya goes to give her water, and he sees the president has arrived, so he goes to talk to him, and when Lin regains her composure, she gets up to look for Tuya and meets the bride, and her old fiance sees them standing together, thinking she will ruin the marriage for him, and Lin tells the bride, you must be nervous because steps like these, when they come in a very short period, are scary, and the bride is surprised and asks her, how so? What do you mean a short period? And how did you know? So Lin gets nervous, while the jerk groom, when he didn't see them in front of him, ran to his mother to inform her that Lin is here, and she must act before the marriage is ruined, and we see Lin running to a room to wash her face, and she remembers the bride's words when she told her, we have known each other for more than a year, and have been engaged for 6 months, so she realizes he was with both of them at the same time. A jerk, a real jerk. As for her wicked mother-in-law, she comes and locks the door on her from the outside. Then Tuya messages her to bring the laptop to him because his bag is with her, and when she tries to leave, she finds the door locked from the outside, so she breaks the window to be able to go to him and not ruin the work, and jumps from the window, and her shoe falls off, and she cannot go back to get it, and she runs to the room where Tuya is, and he notices her shoe is missing. But anyway, the president is impressed by his work and ambition, and the interview goes smoothly like honey, and she tells him she is embarrassed, so she won't attend the party and will wait for him at the port, and he does not want to pressure her and leaves. But he hears 2 people talking that she is the groom's ex-fiance, and they say they saw his mother walking behind her, so he returns to her immediately and tells her, you will enter the party with me. I saw the surveillance cameras and knew everything, and that this is the jerk who left you on your engagement day back then. And he takes her in, holding her hand and placing it in his arm, and when the groom sees her, he gets nervous and drops the ring from his hand, and Lin finds it under her feet, and just as she is about to stoop to pick it up, he stops her, calls the groom, points to it, and he comes to pick it up from under her feet. A legend. Really, this is what real men are like, or forget it, folks. Anyway, at the end of the party, everyone gathers, and Tuya makes a point to treat Lin like a princess in front of him, and when the bride asks her, what happened to your shoe? Tuya looks at her mother-in-law and tells her, the answer is with this haja. Could you return our shoe to us or what? Everyone is surprised, and she plays dumb, so Tuya stands up, saying it is useless now, and reveals everything from the beginning, from the time of his pettiness with Lin, and makes Lin tell how he was with both of them at the same time, and how he left her on their engagement day, and the bride, who is no longer a bride, gets up and gives him a respectable slap, and throws the ring in his face and leaves him, and walks away. And after this night, Tuya brings her shoe and puts it on her himself, and when he finds she cannot walk like this, he carries her on his back and they walk together, and he takes her to her friend's house where she lives, and he sees she is barely walking on her leg, and we see her friend coming running and taking a bag from in front of the restaurant, and she goes up to her and tells her, "Your friend worried me about you and said your leg is injured and brought you this treatment," and Lynn is at the peak of her happiness, and the next day she goes to the company limping on her leg because it hasn't healed at all due to the fall when she jumped from the window, and the manager comes to announce to them that they returned and reinstated their participation in the competition. Then we see the owner of the rival company, whose name is Sun, and he is very annoyed that Tuya's company is back in the competition, as he was the one behind getting him out of it, and he wants to do anything so he does not win this competition. The next day, Tuya went with Lynn and her colleague to hold a meeting with the president of the hotel. Then they forgot files in the car, so Lynn said she would go back to get them, and she met her colleague from the office who was leaking Tuya's information to the media and had resigned 2 days ago, entering and wanting to ruin everything. So she stopped him with all her strength, but she fell, and he was about to hit her. But Sun comes and grabs his hand, scolds him, and helps her, and they go up together. Tuya finds she is late, and when he goes out to look for her, he finds her coming up with Sun, but they don't shake hands or anything. He takes her and they enter, and Sun enters. He is the one who comes to greet Tuya, and after the meeting, he comes to them and says, "Goodbye, Lynn. See you next time." And Tuya looks at Lynn, so she tells him he helped her, and Sun gets in the car, and we see the old employee who caused trouble with Lynn in his car, and it turns out he was the one who told him to do all this and works with him. And when Tuya comes to the garage, he sees Sun and remembers the past when they were children, and says to himself, "Nice move from you," changing the name. And from the next day, Tuya's company starts working on the hotel project, and Lynn and her colleague go to the site to start studying the spaces and recording them, and they work together and find Sun and his company's team too to see their work, and he tells her, "See, their public relations and the progress they are in is what scares us." But Lynn ignores it and continues her work normally. Then a call comes to her colleague from the company saying they are holding a meeting to adjust the project image and he must be there. So Lynn tells him, "You can go and I will continue work here." So he thanks her and leaves, and she keeps working all day until night falls and it rains. So she packs her things quickly to return, but she falls and Sun catches her and offers to give her a ride, but she asks for a taxi. So Sun convinces her that no taxi will come for her at this time and she shouldn't treat him as the owner of the rival company. "I am a man who won't allow myself to leave a girl here in this weather." So she gets in with him and he drives her, and here her colleague calls her checking on her, asking what she did in this rain, and when he hangs up with her, he tells them that when she saw Sun's large crowd, she got very worried and decided to push herself to finish an amount of work equal to theirs. And when Tuya hears this, he gets annoyed, and we return to Lynn, and Sun is sitting talking with her about work, and she tells him about her admiration for Tuya's designs even before she worked with him. Then he finds Tuya coming in front of his car, slamming the brakes and telling Lynn to get out, and the jerk Sun tells her, "Looks like your manager doesn't trust you and is afraid I'll kidnap you." And Tuya takes her and puts her in his car, and when she asks him why he came suddenly, he gets a call and answers it. Then he drives her home and gets out with her with the umbrella because of the rain, and tells her she shouldn't have ridden with him and should avoid suspicions. So she starts explaining to him that she was forced to because of the rain, and when she turns the words over in her head a bit, she says, "So you actually came because you don't trust me." Then he gets another call from the same person, so he turns his back to her and speaks, and she gets annoyed and goes up to the house, so he leaves her. The next day at the company, they are in a meeting and Lynn explains her idea for a project, and everyone supports her and admires her intelligence. And when she leaves, her colleague keeps praising her and her dedication to work, while Tuya is annoyed with himself all day for leaving her with this misunderstanding at home. Her friend comes and offers her to join the game with her, but she tells her she had a fight with Tuya and doesn't want to go. So her friend tells her that her husband has an important job interview there, and this person will participate with us, and I want your help. So she agrees and goes with her. And there, this man is being extremely clingy, and they enter the game, and Lynn's scarf falls from her, and Tuya hands it to her, and they keep staring at each other. Then this buzzkill comes and tells him, "I am her husband in the game, while she can't stand him at all, and tells him, "We are a fake couple. No need to perfect the role like this." Inside the game, he keeps following her and annoying her with very silly harassments until she manages to escape from him and looks for Tuya and finds him in a cinema, and she sits with him and starts asking him, "Aren't you worried I might be playing the role of the journalist to deceive you and arrest you?" So he tells her, "I won't allow anyone I don't trust to get close to me." So she remembers when he told her not to put herself in suspicious situations situations, which means he trusts her, and she asks him, so you aren't afraid another competitor will come and take the title of master of the city from you and win because of someone close betraying you? So he remembered when she asked him, don't you trust me? And his reply was that everyone around him is smart, and she specifically knows who will win in the end. After that, he asks her about the clingy man who was with her at the gate. So she tells him, I myself want to get rid of him because he is a disrespectful person. So he replies to her, let's just not meet him again. Then she gets lost in his handsomeness and says, I completely forgot the game situation, and puts her hand in his jacket pocket. Then the clingy man comes behind her to the cinema and sees them together, but Tuya takes her and they escape. Then she leaves and he finds in his pocket the watch, which is the evidence needed to win. So he runs after her and asks her, why are you helping me? She tells him because he believed her at a time when everyone couldn't see her. So she now believes in him and that he will win in the end. On the other side of the game, her friend is with her husband, and the clingy guy comes to them because they're supposed to start a deal together, but he starts insulting Lynn, so her friend can't stand hearing anything bad about her. So she gets up and hits him, so he hits her back, and Lynn comes from behind her and slaps him a slap he will swear by for his whole life. But he attacks her and falls, and a statue is about to fall on her. But Tuya comes quickly, and it falls on his arm instead of her, and people sit filming what is happening. And after this night ends, Lynn goes running to Tuya and takes him to the hospital, and they do x-rays. And she is more flustered than him and has hyperactivity from excessive worry, and takes instructions from the doctor about good food and rest, and drives him home. And he hears her stomach growling from hunger, so he makes her come down with him on the pretext of cooking for him because of his hand, and they eat together. And he confesses to her that he did not doubt her that day. It's just that the guy named Sun is a dangerous person and not straightforward, she told him. So it was worry, not fear? And she stared at him a bit and said, worry? About your employee, I mean? And she told him, don't worry, I would never betray you. And he stared at her even more, and it looks like we are entering into stirring emotions and a big night. Then she gave him the watch that was evidence in the game, and when she leaves, he sits and takes out a photo of his father and remembers the past when he was helping him draw his plans. At the same time, when Lynn opens the watch, she finds his picture when he was young inside, with his father. And the next morning, Lynn comes to him and fills the fridge with food, makes him breakfast, and drives him to work. And at the club, Tuya's friend is passing by and hears the players talking about Tuya's injury, and watches the surveillance cameras of him saving Lynn. And we return to Lynn, who finishes her work in the office and goes to her friend's restaurant, and is surprised by that clingy guy who came all the way to her, enters, pretends to be a tax inspector, and threatens her that it is not safe for her to be living in a room the size of the restaurant, and that if he filed a complaint, her friend's restaurant would be shut down, the least he could do. So she told him, fine, you buzzkill, I will move from here, and if you don't leave, I will call the police on you. The next day at the company, Lynn goes to Tuya and says to him, if it's not too rude, can I come live with you? I come every day to drive you to work, and this is costing me. He waits for her to finish speaking and refuses, normally, very normally. So she gathers her dignity and leaves, and goes to a broker to find her a rental apartment. And at the end of the day, her manager calls her saying he has to submit a project design that was presented. So Lynn stays to finish the work, and the next day she goes having finished drawing the experimental design, and she suggests to him again that he would benefit greatly if she shared the housing with him. Why? Because she will help him greatly to finish his work as fast as possible, because there is basically no time, meaning she will be his right hand, and he laughs at her silly way of persuasion, but finally agrees. And the day after, his friend comes to him and is shocked when he learns that Lynn will come to live with him here, and Tuya asks him if anything happened at her friend's restaurant. So he tells him that because of the latest videos spread in our club, it might have been harmed a bit, and asks him to look into this matter then. Lynn packs her things to return to her apartment again, and when Tuya returns to the apartment, he finds her car parked below and finds it filthy, and just as Lynn stretches her back to rest, he knocks on her door and says, are we parking the car here or what? So he goes down with her to park it, and corners her downstairs, showing her that it is filthy and covered in dust. So she tells him, man, morning is wiser, we'll wash it tomorrow. And when she finds him insistent, she tells him, fine, you wash it then, and I will continue my things, and leaves. And while he washes it, he pretends to be tired and unable because of his hand. So she comes back to him, and he tells her, did you forget something or what? She told him, man, I forgot my conscience. Park it yourself then, and I will wash. So he sits crossing his legs while she washes it. The next day at the company, Lynn sees that the club video spread and her friend's restaurant was mentioned. So she goes to Tuya to ask his permission, and he lets her go to her friend, agreeing and telling her to take his car. At this time, there is a man at her friend's place informing her of the complaint filed against her and refusing to tell her who filed the complaint. And then Tuya's friend comes and tells tells her that the clingy man is the one who filed this complaint, and she sits there, not knowing what to do until he sends her the full video from the surveillance cameras and tells her she can use it to reveal the truth. And indeed, she uploads it to the media, and Lynn arrives and sits comforting her and joking with her, while our clingy friend, his manager, calls him and scolds him because of the noise he caused. And at this moment, Lynn and her friend pass in front of him in the car, so he runs after them and keeps cutting them off until they break. And she was about to have an accident, and he yells at them. Then Sun sees this and chases him with his car, stops him, and makes him call the police himself, sorry on himself too. And there Lynn thanks him for his help and takes her friend and leaves. And when his assistant comes and knows they belong to Tuya and asks him why, he helps them. He said, when we lengthen the line, we can catch the big fish. What poetic snake talk. Anyway, when she returns home, she tells him everything, and he gets annoyed that Sun was with her again and told her, next time when something like this happens, call the owner of the car, which is me. The next morning, her friend calls her and tells her, look at the videos that are up. Everyone was in front of my restaurant today, and the manager apologized to me himself, while the clingy guy was humiliated and exposed on social media. And she tells her that Tuya did this. So she goes down and finds her bringing him food to thank him, and she brought flowers but tells him, this isn't for you. I mean, I will just plant it normally. Then she finds her father bursting in on them suddenly, so she makes him go inside to hide in the bathroom and tries to get rid of him immediately. And as he is leaving, Tuya turns on the shower on himself accidentally. Her father hears the sound, but Lynn tells him, this is our neighbor Hodge taking a shower. None of our business. You just go. And he leaves, and she doesn't let him reach him. And she goes in to get Tuya out of the bathroom and keeps apologizing to him, finding her father entered on them. And Tuya says to him, hello uncle, how are you? So he tells him, what? Coming this time too to take the rent. So Lynn looks at him and tells him, go up and put on your clothes so you don't catch a cold, and tells her father everything, that she rented the apartment to him, and he is not her colleague. He is her manager at work, consequently telling him about her real job, which he didn't accept from the start, even though he knows this has been her dream for a long time. And Lynn starts telling him all the difficulties she went through to care for him while giving up her dream. And now what is the hindrance? Tuya is listening to all this from upstairs, and her father tells her, whatever you say, I will remain disapproving, and at the same time I won't be able to control you. So she cries, and Tuya comes down calling for her father, but he leaves them and goes, trying to console Lynn. But she still goes into the room and locks herself in. He knocks on her door trying to get her out in every way, but she doesn't answer him. So he goes and brings a video on YouTube and plants the flowers she brought. And when he went up to wash his hand, an idea came to his mind that would make her come out. He kept calling her on the phone and told her the faucet is broken and she should come up to fix it because he won't know how because of his arm, as is known. And when she comes out of the room, she sees the flowers and sees him cleaning the place. And she takes the maintenance kit and goes up finding nothing broken. He told her, if I didn't do this, you would have stayed sleeping until the day of the competition. I know what will get you out of your state quickly. And they go to finish the project design together. And late at night, he finds himself sleeping on the sofa covered, and she finished the whole design and is sitting on the balcony, and he admires her work. And she tells him, let's go open the restaurant together. We are really hungry. The next day at their house, they are standing, and suddenly the power goes out. And when they go out to see what is happening, they find all the residents putting their hope in Lynn. And she acts like 7 men rolled into one, puts on the gloves, and spends 10 minutes unscrewing and wiring. And she turns on the electricity at the end, but nothing works. Then he comes and in 5 minutes tightens a loose screw, and the electricity comes back, and everyone thanks him. But Lynn looks at him like that, thinking, mashallah, our hands are healed and fine now. And she enters, sulking at him, and tells him, are you happy now? My service is 5 stars. He told her, fine, from tomorrow, I will do everything myself. The next day at the company, her colleague comes and tells her, take a deep breath and enter with your right foot to see Tuya because he wants you. And when she enters, she starts listing all the disasters she caused, while he actually wanted her because he wanted to tell her he will put her name on the project they are working on. And she is very happy and tells him that on the occasion of all these nice things he is doing with her, she is inviting him tomorrow to a newly opened restaurant she wants to try. Then he returns home and finds a teddy bear stuck to the ceiling that he keeps hitting his head on so he would notice and not hit it again, while Lynn is in her room working. Then her aunt calls her while she has the speaker on, telling her about the blind date she arranged for her tomorrow. And Tuya is outside and heard everything. She turns off the speaker quickly and tells her she refuses, and she gets to know that she will tell her father, and she says, fine, fine. After that, his friend calls him asking if he is free tomorrow. He tells him, "Honestly, brother, I had an appointment but looks like it got canceled." And he is annoyed, so he punches the teddy bear she put for him on the ceiling, and it makes a loud noise. So she knows he hit it again and keeps laughing and calls out to him, "What's up, engineer? Is the head okay or what?" The next morning, she calls her friend and makes her hurry with the cake she will send her, and the two of them are avoiding each other because they are embarrassed about the appointment that got canceled without actually being canceled. At her friend's cafe, we see Sun enter, chatting her up, and he learns from her that Lin is single. A delivery guy arrives, and she gives him the cake and tells him the address, and Sun sees Tuya's name on the cake, so he gets in the car and has him take him to the address. On the other side, Tuya gets a work call and has to go down to the company. He doesn't find Lin and says, "Look at this rude girl who went out without telling me." And Sun has arrived and sees Tuya leaving the house. And when the delivery arrives, we learn that Lin is still at home actually and receives the cake, and Sun learns they are living in the same house together. And at night, Lin takes the cake and goes to the restaurant they agreed on, and she calls him, but his phone is off. And when she enters, she finds him sitting there eating alone. And just as she is about to yell at him, he asked her, "Who makes a date and doesn't come or what?" So she starts explaining to him that she was avoiding him to prepare a surprise for him, and gives him the cake and lights a candle for him. And they keep blowing it out all night because it relights, signal by signal. And when they finish, he gives her the car keys and tells her to go visit her family. She goes to them indeed and finds her father was preparing food to send to her. Then she informs him that her first project is one of the biggest projects in the country, and if it succeeds, her name will be put on it as the design owner. So he is moved and cries that he was the reason she was delayed on her path to success like this, but she handles the situation with comedy, and they reconcile quickly. As for Tuya, he is walking, thinking about the day, smiling and happy. The next day at the company, they are working on a project, and their colleague finds Sun appearing in a press interview, talking about a part of his design, which is the same idea as Lin's design, as he stole it from them when he knew why Tuya has been living for a while in this popular place. So he figured out his mindset, and when Tuya sees this, he holds a meeting trying to find a solution, but he ends the meeting without reaching a specific conclusion, so he goes to sit alone and get depressed and such. But Lin doesn't stop sending him messages to come home quickly, and every time he leaves the mobile, he finds a message from her until he gets fed up and returns home. And as soon as he enters, he tells her, "So you were tricking me. There is no disaster or anything," she told him. "If I didn't do this, you wouldn't have returned until the day of the competition," remembering when he told her that while she was crying on the day of her father's fight, paying him back, Then she takes him to the roof of the house, having brought balloons and food, and starts telling him why she likes staying here, even though her family and friends move, and tells him the story of her childhood, the residents, the neighbors, their love for the street here, and their memories, and also the old people who were the most beautiful youths one day. And she comforts him, saying they still have time, and he shouldn't give up. So he tells her, "Who mentioned giving up now?" and asks her to go down while he sits here a bit, asking her what she will do with these balloons. The next morning, he wakes up to her voice in the street amidst the children distributing balloons to them. Then an idea comes to his mind, and they go to the company, even though he gave the team a leave. But they all came and started working on a second project from scratch until the competition day came. Then the sly fox Sun starts by presenting his design, and next comes Tuya's turn, and he presents his idea, which sparked controversy as soon as they found it was the same idea as Sun's, which he stole, of course. But people don't know. But Tuya shocks them when he goes into details and modifications, even the feelings that Sun knows nothing about. And at the end of his speech, he says that one of the residents of this street is the one who inspired the idea, and looks at Lin and laughs and gets off amidst everyone's applause and fascination with the idea. And they wait for the result, and their colleague comes telling them, "I eavesdropped on the reputation from the bathroom and knew the results are very close." Then they return to the company, all wearing sad faces for the manager, as she expects them to lose. But what happened is just Lin keep laughing secretly and can't control herself, and her colleague scolds her, telling her, "You must improve your acting skills." And we learn they won the competition, and hooray. As for our sly fox, when he returns home, his father scolds him a bit because he is responsible and he won't be able to hand over the company to him. This father turns out to be Toya's stepfather, meaning Sun and Tuya are distant brothers. And when he goes up to his room, he finds a card between books and remembers he brought sweets from Lin's friend's cafe, and this was inside it. And when he opens it, he finds the address of Tuya's virtual game club, and when he reads his name inside the game, he knows it belongs to Tuya. The next day, Lin's friend sees Sun entering the game, and as soon as Lin comes to the cafe, she tells her, and Lin, as soon as she hears this, runs to the game, but the reception doesn't let her enter because she is late and the roles are finished. So she waits and enters behind her, and as soon as she sees Sun, she pushes him a little inside the game to stall him until she finds Tuya and informs him. After that, they see her on the cameras not wearing the character character clothes. And she also didn't pay for a ticket, so they stop her to get her out of the game, but she manages to slip away from him and finds Tuya, runs to him and tells him, while Sun had already entered the same room and meets him, and he and Lin go out to wait for Tuya to finish the round, and Tuya's friend finds him walking in the corridor and asks him, "Did you exit willingly or what?" He tells him, "No, I lost normally." And when he enters the surveillance room, Sun says, in front of everyone, "I introduce to you my brother." After that, Sun goes to talk to Lin and tells her, "The one you trust is not what you think he is. A thief who tried to steal my father's safe when he was 12 years old." And Tuya comes to them, and when he sees them standing together, he gets annoyed and walks away, and Lin runs after him, while Sun tells him that tomorrow she is invited to their place on the occasion of his winning the competition. On the way, Lin asks him if he is really his brother, but he tells her, "No, I mean," and speeds up very much. And when they arrive, she tells him it's a blended family, but he tells her that was a long time ago, it's over and done, and leaves her and goes up. The next day, he goes to the dinner where Sun's mother and father are, and no one can stand anyone, but they pretend to be a family and such. After they finish, he goes out and his mother follows him and gives him food to take home because he looks thin. And on the way, he remembers the past when he offered to his mother to study engineering and told her, "I will manage the money," but she was angry and refused. When he arrives, Lin interrupts his train of thought, calling him and makes him help her wash a curtain for an old lady, and they do it together, and she goes in to put moisturizer on her hands, but he comes and puts moisturizer inside gloves and puts them on her hands and spreads it with his hand, telling her he learned this method because when he traveled abroad, he worked washing dishes, so he learned this trick. And she remembers the words about him and tells him, "Your life back then must have been hard," but he gets annoyed by the question, leaves her, and goes up, and she goes to talk to her friend, and her friend points out that what she is going through means she definitely has feelings for him. So we get a flashback of all the nice actions with her, and she says to herself, "Yes, indeed, why not?" And she doesn't understand where her feelings are going, but here we are, flailing. At the end of the day, there is a business dinner with the company and an investor with them, celebrating with them, and after eating, Lin sits for a bit, but he annoys her a little with his words, and Tuya notices she is upset, so he makes her leave him and tells her, "Tell me, come on, what upset you? Because your body language is all in my pocket now. Don't try to lie to me." After that, he takes her and goes home, and she is literally eating rice pudding with angels, very drunk happy. When she gets out of the car, she finds it snowing, and she is happy for the first few seconds, but then she cries and acts as silly as the snow, wanting to catch it all. While he stands waiting for her to finish the nonsense she is doing, then she starts imagining strange things and seeing him in front of her like the character in the game. The day after, she wakes up not remembering anything, goes to ask him, "What did I do yesterday? Let me know if I crossed the line, cursed you, hit you. Okay, look generally, see what I did and return it to me. Don't be upset." So he got closer to her a bit. She said to him, "No, never mind, I don't want to know," and goes to her friend at the cafe and tells her, "As soon as this competition project finished, I feel empty." So she replies that she has a discount coupon for the game, and she should go in to waste time, and she enters. Indeed, and part of the scenario is that she enters a club and is supposed to meet her old lover. And when she enters, she finds Tuya in her face. Then the soldiers run after her to arrest him, so she takes him by the hand and runs and hides with him in the place. And while they are close like this, and he is in the same outfit she saw him in while she was hallucinating, she says, "What have I done?" and apologizes to him, saying, "It was a mistake, never mind." After that, the anniversary day comes for Tuya's father, and he goes to meet his mother and tells her about the arrangements to go visit his grave. So she tells him she is not ready for this visit yet. He tells her, "You are still blaming him." Then her husband calls to check on her, and she talks to him very sweetly and tells him, "Don't worry about me." So he gets furious and leaves her and walks away. And on his way, he finds a white dress in a shop window like the one Lin was wearing in the game. So he remembers how she was beautiful and smiles despite himself. So it looks like what you want wants you. Coincidentally, her uncle's anniversary is today too, and she goes with her father, mother, aunt, and her son to visit his grave. And there, her father remembers his memories with his brother, and we learn he died because of the old hotel accident that Tuya's father was accused in. And this takes us to Tuya standing at his father's grave alone, and Sun comes from behind him to put flowers on the grave too, and Tuya takes them and removes them, implying, "Keep them for yourself, honey." But Tuya, before leaving, hints to him that the one who should really bear the responsibility is his family, as if he knows something big about them and is waiting to prove it. And this makes Sun worried, and he returns home and cannot sleep because of Sun's words, and goes out to sit on the sofa and finds Lin awake too, and she sends him the song she is listening to so he can listen to it and sleep. The next day comes, and we see the investor who was going to sign the contract with them to execute their project sitting with Sun, and he paid him more just so he wouldn't continue work with Tuya's company, aiming for ruin. Meaning, as for Tuya and his team, they hold a meeting and don't know where they will manage to find a second company to contract with and execute the project. And here Lynn, the daughter of the company, after fatigue and staying up, while searching for an alternative company to provide them with resources, found a company and went to their headquarters, which is originally in a remote area. And at the end of the day, there is a party for the new project they will be working on. And Lynn runs to the party, and Sun meets her at the door like urgent fate and asks her, "What? Coming to save the hero?" And the company manager comes quickly to take her to the dressing room and tells her that today is an important day for their company and she must be extremely elegant, and she has prepared a dress for her. As for Tuya, the girls are gathered around him, pretending, to be talking about work and such. Lynn then gets dressed and goes down to the hall, snatching the gazes of all attendees. Among them Sun, whose eyes are about to pop out looking at her, and Tuya, who is dazzled by her beauty, and she comes to take him from amidst the girls so they can review the work, and the project owner says his word and lets Tuya give his speech. Then Tuya announces that his company will start cooperating with Sun's company, and Lynn is shocked by the news and surprised because he didn't tell her. Then Sun comes and talks to Lynn and tells her, "We will be partners, be happy now," she told him. Tuya conceded, nothing more. "And you were dying to win the project, and when that didn't happen, you controlled the resource companies so they wouldn't work with us." When he was stumped and didn't know how to reply, he told her, "I say enough talk about work now," and extended his hand to her to dance together. So she looked at Tuya, and when she didn't find, any reaction from him, she danced with Sun. But Tuya couldn't stand himself, so he went up to the stage and called for him to come up and say a word on the occasion of their partnership together, just to separate them. And that's it. And Lynn goes to stand with her manager and thank her for the dress. But she told her, "I am not the one who brought it. Yet it was President Tuya." Lynn is standing outside alone, and Tuya comes to her and says, "Why is the beauty standing alone?" And he covers her with his jacket and apologizes to her that he did not inform her of this decision early, especially since he knows she worked hard looking for a substitute company just so she wouldn't see him humiliating himself to Sun. But she says she is not annoyed with him anymore and trusts his decisions. Later, Tuya's mother calls him so he would come attend New Year's Day with them. And the next day at the company, they bring gifts for the employees, and Lynn asks Tuya, "Where will you spend New Year's Day?" He said to her, "Just like the rest of the year. I mean, and you?" She told him, "I spend it with my dad and mom at home." He told her, "Fine, you guys enjoy yourselves. Then, and I won't come today so you can be comfortable," and leaves her and walks away. She said to herself, "What is with him? I was going to tell him to spend it with us. I mean," and at night, everyone is decorating the houses and streets, and Tuya sent gifts to his mother and apologized to her that he won't come today, and went to visit his uncle at the house, who told him long ago that his father was innocent and he must know where the truth is. But now he tells him, "Son, enough exhaustion. I say you get married and make a family. It's better for you than this heartache." Then he goes to walk alone and finds his feet. Brought him to Lynn's house, and her father sees him from the window and makes him come up and celebrate with them. And while they are eating, her father drops a bomb. "Ha! You can't imagine the feeling of seeing my daughter's husband eating with us like this." Of course, Lynn chokes on the food and coughs, and they change the subject immediately to work. And Tuya tells her father, "I am not the one who helped her. On the contrary, she is the one who helped me in everything," and looks at her saying, "I hope all these troubles disappear from your life in the new year." Then they go up to the roof together and talk about work and that he hopes this project finishes and succeeds. And Lynn gets close to him, but he steps away and tells her that the project is finished and he will leave from here. So she asks him, "What does this talk mean?" He told her that he will leave before the lease contract ends, normally, and Lynn gets very annoyed and feels she messed things up. The next day, he sends his friend to take his things from her apartment, and she calls him and tells him, "And what you did? What is this called?" He told her, "Sorry, but I am busy, these days." She told him, "That is not what I meant, but we are done." And she goes to pack his things and gives them to his friend, including the dress he had brought her, and Tuya gets annoyed when he sees it. Then he goes to the manager of the company that Lynn went to and agreed to contract with him, but the work between them must remain a secret. Later at the company, Lynn comes and gives him the rest of the rent money, and he tells her, "Keep it, daughter. This is a silly amount," she told him. "No, really, I don't like leaving question marks like some people." And Sun comes to the company bringing a gift for every employee, and not just any gift. He brings each one the thing they love, and brings Lynn chocolate because she loves it, and tells them, "I am inviting you tonight for dinner." But Tuya shuts him down and says, to him, "We have a lot of work, dear. Really not free." Then they add each other on the work group, and Sun enters Lynn's account and sits listening to her favorite song. And the next day he informs them that he will make Lynn the communication officer, and the manager goes to inform Tuya about Sun's exaggerated interest in Lynn. So he tells her, "No, honestly, it's normal. Lynn is truly hardworking and deserves it, and that she is the officer is normal, and her colleagues make fun of her while she is annoyed when attention comes to you from the wrong person." After that, that. She gets in his car with him and tells him, "The news is spreading about me that you appointed me as the officer because of your admiration for me," he asked her. "And what do you think about this talk?" She told him, "Your interest is not in me. Your main goal is Tuya, and you want to annoy him through me. Someone like you wouldn't care about a simple employee like me," he told her. "And Tuya sees you as just an employee?" She replied, "Yes, he just does all this out of humility. So I wish from today you stop using me as a tool for the conflicts between you, and let's be straightforward with each other so the work turns out well." They arrive at the site, and she sees him following up on the work himself, and with all conscience, especially the workers' safety, so she stands with him and tells him, "My father had an accident a long time ago due to negligence, so I am impressed by your conscience that is still awake." At the end of his day, Tuya asks Lin's colleague in the office about her, if she finished work or not yet, so he tells him she finished and will go with Sun to the site. As for Lin, she finishes work with Sun and goes with him because he invited her for dinner. On the other side, Tuya is sitting at home fuming, so he messages her, "Where are you? With whom?" She told him she finished her work and is currently having dinner with Sun. Besides, an employee doesn't have to tell her manager where she is after working hours, he told her. "No, actually your design papers are here, so come take them," she told him. "No, smart guy, you took them by mistake, so you should return them." Oops. A short while passes, and she finds him in front of the restaurant with the papers, but he tells her, "Take them in the car." Sun replies to him, "Let her choose who she wants to ride with." So Lin looks at him, thanks him for the dinner invitation, and gets in with Tuya and tells him. He asked her, "Did you get annoyed or what? Sun isn't a competitor to us anymore. I mean, there are no doubts or anything, and if you are suspicious, remove me from the project, it's fine." Later, her friend calls her to come to the restaurant immediately and starts crying to her because her husband cheated on her, so she stays with her and calms her down. Then she sits removing ad papers from the restaurant front and finds Tuya came to her, and she asks him, "What are you doing at this late time?" But he let her know he was waiting for her since then, basically, and she starts wailing too and sits crying because she is sad for her friend. The next day, Tuya goes to the restaurant to see Lin, but her friend tells him she left early and said she had a meeting, and tells him, "Lin doesn't show what's inside her heart, but since the day you moved out of the apartment, she hasn't been well. Be nice to her, you mule." On the other side, Lin is just entering the company. She was about to fall on her face, but Sun caught her, and before they go up in the elevator, Tuya and her colleague come to ride with them. Sun gets close and presses the button, and Tuya is surprised. So he tells him this isn't the first time he does this with Lin, and the day she came for an interview here, he met her too and pressed the button for her. She has a phobia of buttons, apparently. Anyway, her colleague says, "This is fate bringing you together." But when he sees Tuya's expression, he swallows his tongue and withdraws the sentence and shuts up completely. Of course, Lin feels like the center of the universe at this moment. They enter the meeting, and after they handle everything and the meeting ends, Sun comes and tells Lin how she is the smartest cutie, but Tuya tells him, "I wish, sweetie, if there is any communication with Lin, let it be through me, and stop this employee stealing business and improve yourself." Then he takes Lin and her colleague, and they go to a work site, and he makes him go up to photograph the spaces while he takes Lin and they walk, talking about work, and in the middle of the conversation, he asks her if she would like him to take her to her friend's restaurant to sit with her, but she told him she would like to sit alone. Then Lin enters a place like a tunnel, and he enters behind her, but it is dark. Memories with his father form when he was playing hide and seek with him, and it looks like he has trauma from the dark. Anyway, he gathers his strength and finds Lin, and when she sees him like this, she tells him, "No, surely you aren't afraid of the dark? You are the one who helped me when we were in the haunted house inside the game." The next day, Sun is sitting with the CFO, who told him that for the last 2 years his father was messing things up big time with the company rights. So he goes to his father and asks him, "What did you mess up, Hodge? You will send the company to hell. God ruin your house." But his father threw the water glass in his face and told him, "What you are in, I am the cause of." He sent it literally into his face, saying, "Why? Otherwise, you wouldn't be in your position now." At the company, Lin saw the wound on his face where the glass hit, so she puts a plaster on it for him, and he can't believe himself. At the end of the day, Tuya's friend is at his house, telling him that Lin is at the game club every day playing to kill the main character, which is supposed to be him. The next day, Lin is standing and her back hurts her, so Tuya comes and throws hints at her, saying, "Not every day playing. I mean, we have more important work." She told him, "When I slack off at work, then speak," and continued emotionally, implying, "You shouldn't focus on employees' actions outside work," and leaves him and enters feeling fed up with his coldness and wanting to avoid him, but not knowing how. At the end of the day, she goes to sleep over at her friend's and tells her she separated from her husband permanently and has new ideas to develop her work in the restaurant. The next day, all the game members are gathered at her restaurant, and they find a delivery guy coming in on them with a bouquet of flowers written on it, "My love." And Tuya here is about to lose his mind, afraid it might be for Lin, but the girl who just entered a new relationship came with them. You know how beginnings are, folks, and on the last day, they participate participate in the game, and this time, Tuya entered with his main character as always, and her mission this time is to keep preserving the ring, and if she loses it, she loses, and this ring is in Tuya's hand, so he told her, fine lady, just stay with me and you won't lose anything or the ring, and she keeps walking behind him, and her leg tires her and gets injured, so she enters a shop, and while he turns around telling her to take the ring, he does not find her behind him. Then he goes back to look for her and finds her shoes in front of a shop and enters to ask about her, and he tells him that indeed a girl came here sad, and he gave her a marriage contract for the mission that follows, and she left, then went to marry the official, but he told her he needs the signature of the master of the city, and when she went to Tuya, he asked her, you want to marry him for what? She told him, he is a delightful person, not a closed-off child like this, and he loves me too, and if he is not suitable, I will change him normally. Then he signs and gives her the contract, and she goes to the affairs office to submit it, but she tells her that this contract is void, and when she looks at it, she finds he did not sign or anything, and wrote dream on. So she goes down from the office and finds him waiting for her downstairs, and asks him, why do you like playing with my feelings and dragging me behind you, whether here or in reality? And the game ends, and she tells him, I no longer want to care about winning or losing, nor about you, personally, and leaves him and walks. But he comes and pulls her into a side street, puts his hat over the camera, and gives her a moment of romance while standing like that. Then he hides her in a box, brings her out, gives her the ring, and she wins. And their faces are glowing, hooked up now and happy. And when they go outside, she tells him, I took the ring, and I had taken a watch. I am going to finish off all your things, he told her. You are free. His friend exited the game too, and they all got in the car. And Tuya told his friend, I say we drop you off first. Why go home with him? And he gives her some designs to work on. So she told him, you brought me for this then? Well, peace be upon you, and left him and walked. So he went after her, stopped her, and told her, sorry, I was a bit late, but I had to calculate it well to take full responsibility, and confessed his love to her, and they live their moments filled with butterflies. And when she returns and looks at the designs, she finds a design of his from a long time ago, signed with a different letter. And the next day he goes to spend the day with son and his family and mother, and they bring gifts for their mother, and Tuya has brought her a music album of a singer she loves, and she remembered the old days when she used to listen to it with his father. Then their mother tells them, I am happy you are in agreement together at work, but I want to be reassured about you boys. Isn't there anyone you admire here or there? So son told her that there is a colleague of his in the company, a designer he admires, and he is waiting for the right time to introduce you to her. And when his father asked about her background and lineage, he told him her father was an engineer, but his father objects because they are a normal and simple family. And after eating, Tuya goes and tells son, do not introduce Lynn to your family and put her in a bad situation with you, especially since you know your father well. Later, Lynn talks to Tuya and tells him she stayed up until morning on the designs he gave her and wants to go with him to her friend's restaurant. He told her, sorry, really, honey. I mean, I have to meet someone important. And the door knocks. And when she opens it, she finds him in front of her, meaning he is a real charmer. And she enters telling him, we are still in the beginning. I mean, I must take care of myself and such. And she washes her hair so they can go out together. And when she finishes, they discover she washed her hair with hand wash. So they sit helping her dry her hair. And they are very, very much lovebirds. I mean, in her friend's restaurant, Tuya's friend brings the club camera recordings and finds that Tuya and Lynn were together, and they are shocked and go to their house to ask them what the nature of their relationship is. So they find them together again, and each one opens an investigation on the other. And she told her friend, I swear, dear, we just got together yesterday. I didn't have time to tell you anything. And she gets up to pack her things from her place to leave them, to live together comfortably, and takes Tuya's friend and leaves. And she tells him, one must be careful after this, because of the company employees, and she gets up to bring him the designs and shows him the paper that had a different signature and tells him, we could use this engineer in our project. He seems like a genius, he told her. This one has quite a story. I will tell you later. Then she falls asleep on him, and he puts her in her room and goes to meet his uncle and talks to him about work, telling him there is a secret son's father is hiding regarding the resource companies. And I know you entered these companies with them to know this secret, and this is a good move from you. Keep going as you are. And Tuya returns home and stands in front of the map of all son's father's company dealings and says to himself that all the threads are close to completion. And the next day, Tuya is driving Lynn, and just as they are about to get close and such, but their colleagues in the office separate them while they nag her, telling her, lucky you, the manager himself will drive you home while the rain will drown us. But Tuya is kind. He lets them get in and drives them home. On the other side, Son is with his mother, and she is preparing food for Tuya. So he told her, come, I will take you on my way to the company. While they are on the way, she tells him, "Don't let your father's words get on your nerves too much. If you really love this girl, try to bring up the subject with her, and I will talk to your father and convince him." And she finds a gift beside her, and when she asks him, "Who is this for?" he tells her, "For a colleague, I mean." They arrive at the company and Sun calls Lin outside and gives her the gift box and tells her, "Inside this is a meal my mother made for me, but I'm good." She told him, "What is the occasion for this?" He said to her, "For all the kindness you showed me." She takes the box and enters the company with it, and when his mother sees it in her hand, she knows she is the girl that Sun wants to marry. Lin takes the food to the employees. Her colleague tells her, "This food is specially for you," she told him. "No, it's for all of us, normally." So Tuya tells her, "Taste it like this. If you like the food, I will bring you some for dinner," and kicks her in the leg. So an employee asks him, "What is this? Is there work at night or what?" God, Lin has extra work at night. And in his office, she confesses to him that Sun is the one who gave her this meal, and she starts acting cute with him, and he tells her that today his mother came to the company, but he hadn't arranged for them to meet, but he will arrange another time and introduce them to each other. On the other side, Sun is at his company, opening Lin's photo and zooming in on it, smiling purely. The next day, Lin's friend's restaurant is very crowded because of the new offers and the promotion idea of Tuya's friend, and they are there with her helping her in work. And Tuya messages Lin apologizing that he can't come because of work. At this time, Sun comes and stands with Lin, and Tuya's friend talks to him immediately like a snitch, telling him Sun is here. So Tuya gets annoyed but gets busy with the meeting, and Lin is in the bathroom trying to get the stain out of the shirt. And when she comes out, she finds Sun standing outside, and he brought her a silk scarf as a gift to cover the stain with and such. And again, Tuya's friend sees them together and tells him immediately. At the end of the day, Lin is on her way home, but stops to photograph the moon while she is stepping backward, and Tuya catches her, and she has tied her hair with the silk scarf. So he asks her, "Is this Sun's gift then?" So she annoys him, telling him, "Yes, beautiful. Very much, isn't it?" He tells her, "It's like garbage, honey," and tries to remove it from her hair, but she tells him it's hers, normally, and they sit joking together. As for Sun, oh my eye. When he returns home, his father meets him with a wooden face and hurts him because of work, and he enters his room injured again, and in his hand is the gift he brought for Lin, and we see that when he offered it to her, she refused it and told him, "This is something too expensive to put on a stained shirt," and he keeps looking at the scarf sad. Our hearts are starting to break for you, artist. On the other side, Tuya and Lin are in a parallel world full of hearts and having dinner together at his house. After dinner, Lin finds a piano sitting in the corner, and he comes and tells her it belonged to his father, but because he was a naughty child, he didn't get to learn anything from him. So she tells him, "Don't upset yourself, big guy. The best piano course paid for the sake of your eyes." The next day, Lin is at her friend's restaurant, who hasn't stopped adjusting her restaurant accounts from too much work, and Tuya's friend suggests to her that they take a break from work a little and go out to breathe as a reward even, and they tell Lin too to bring Tuya. And when she goes, she is afraid to tell him lest he refuses because of work. But she finds him agreeing normally, very simply, and she was making a big deal out of it a bit. At the end of the week, he comes to take her to travel, but she hadn't told him that this trip would be with their friends, and they go together to have fun and spend a good time at an amusement park. And at the same time, her friend is moving on from her ex-husband with his friend. And during these beautiful moments, a work call comes regarding Tuya's club, and he goes up to the room to his friend to check the problem on line, and Lin tells him she will be with her friend here, so he shouldn't worry. After a while, her friend comes to knock on their door actually, and tell them, "Let's go eat out." And Tuya asks her about Lin, so she tells him she thought they were together. So he goes down running to look for her and hears people saying there is an accident. So he runs to the accident scene and gets a flashback from the day of his father's accident and is dying from worry. But God covers it, and it turns out not to be Lin. And she comes to him from behind him like a fool, and he runs to her and is very worried. She apologizes to him because her phone died and she couldn't call him, and he has prepared a surprise for her. On the last day of the trip, they stay up together in a car on a mountain, and he tells her how scared he was today and remembered when his father suddenly disappeared too, and when they saw him, he was already gone. The next day, they pack their things and go, and on the way, Lin falls asleep. And when Tuya arrives at her house, he finds a car parked in front of her house and remembers the day before when she left the company, and he noticed the same car driving behind her. So he takes her with him to his house, and when she wakes up, he tells her, "Stay with me just for 2 days," and doesn't tell her anything. And in his room, he writes down the numbers of the car watching Lin to start seeing who is behind it. Then he goes to Lin and tells her, "I will stay up for work. You go sleep." And she keeps scrolling on the phone until she falls asleep. The next day at Sun's company, his assistant comes to him and tells him someone is coming and brought a food box wanting to give it to him. So he rejoices and goes down running, thinking it's Lin, but is surprised it is Tuya, and he warns him to stay away from Lin because his father sent his men to watch her at her home and work. So Sun is shocked when he learns his father did this and goes up to his office and demands he stay away from his because it is just a normal one-sided love, and he gets up and gives him a slap, sits down and asks him, you know, her name all this time, and is it possible you don't know who her father is? So Sun leaves the office and starts thinking about her father's name. As for Lin, she ordered some wood and starts adding her touch to every corner of the apartment, and she finds a picture of him with his father in the drawer. And at night, Tuya arrives home, and from the door, he notices her nice touches, and they enter, joking together a bit until she slips away from him, and he finds her in the room alone because she has prepared a surprise for him, which is that she framed his picture with his father and tells him she needs to hear a lot about him and that she will wait for the time when he is ready to talk. And the next day at the company, Tuya's mother comes and enters his office while he is sitting with his friend, telling him that tomorrow their neighbors who were in America are coming for a visit and want to see him specifically. And she tells him that Sun has now found someone to love, meaning it is his turn. So the daughter of this family is not a stranger to him, and she was with him in high school, so he must meet her, and he does not know what to say to her. So he agrees like a fool, and that is it. And when she leaves, he looks at his friend and tells him, don't you dare say a word in front of Lin. But he, of course, did not waste time and went to tell her everything in detail and comes with him to the meeting where Tuya is sitting alone, and this neighbor's daughter comes to him, and as he gives her a gift, he tells her, on the occasion of your engagement, and it seems we understood the situation wrong, but the one who still misunderstands is Lin, who goes to the hotel they are at and keeps sneaking around them and spying on them, and she bumps into the waiter, causing a scene, and Tuya sees her and laughs at her, and suddenly she finds Sun coming from behind her asking her, today is Saturday, did you come for work too? So she leaves him and walks away while he sees that Tuya is sitting with the girl. So he runs after Lin and tells her, tell me the truth, what is the nature of your relationship with Tuya? Then Tuya comes from behind him, holds her hand and tells him, she is my girlfriend, so get out now because your father is looking for you. And he takes Lin and leaves while she is sulking to the max, but he keeps trying to make it up to her and explains to her that this girl is actually engaged. As for Sun, he keeps drinking to forget, poor guy, but it backfires on him and he goes to Lin's house and keeps calling out to her until the neighbors tell him, we can't sleep, man. And the next day, an email comes to Sun's company from Tuya's company stating that they will end the cooperation between them and Tuya will deal directly with the supplier Lin brought to them, and the manager comes to inform the team that their company is now working on the project alone without the help of any other companies, and they thank Lin for this effort. And her colleagues keep saying she deserves a reward, and Tuya is standing there hearing them, so he smiles at her and sends her a message that her reward is the music concert tonight. And at the end of the day, they go to the concert together, and halfway through, he tells her, after the concert, I want to tell you something, and they spend their time happily. While on the other side, a package arrives for her father and mother at their house, containing documents and photos of Tuya with his father, and their sweet moments are interrupted by her mother's numerous calls, and when she steps out to talk to her, she tells her the truth about Tuya and whose son he is. So she looks at him from afar and keeps crying, and Tuya stands there not understanding anything until he receives notifications on the internet revealing his true identity, with people commenting that surely he will follow in his father's footsteps and it will be a failed project. So Lin leaves him and walks out, and he runs after her apologizing that he did not intend to hide the truth from her. So she breaks down from crying, and he told her, didn't you tell me you would be ready to listen to me when I am ready? Then she gets a call from her mother that her father had an accident, so they rush to the hospital as he needs immediate surgery, and Tuya stands handling the procedures for them and lets her stay beside her mother. And after a while, the surgery succeeds and the doctor reassures them about him while Sun enters to his father and mother and asks him, you are the one who spread these rumors about Tuya, aren't you? He stayed silent a bit and told him, shouldn't I take something for myself at least? He said, believe me, you artist, we were wrong to have our hearts breaking for you. Then Lin's mother takes her aside and blames her for what happened, telling her, if your father hadn't seen these documents, he wouldn't have gotten so upset and gone out looking for you and had an accident. She looks and finds Tuya standing there, so she walks out and he follows her asking what she meant by those documents. So she looks at him crying and tells him, I shouldn't have loved you, and informs him that on the day of his father's accident, her father was the lighting engineer and got sick just like now. And after he woke up, everything changed. The next morning, Tuya is sleeping in his car in front of the hospital, and Lin comes out to go get clothes for her father from home, and he keeps insisting on driving her until she agrees and lets him go up to the house with her. And at that time, he sees a picture of her father with his brother who died in that accident, and she tells him how close he was to his father and that his death affected him greatly, and he carries the guilt of his death on his conscience, and because of him, she made him relive all that old pain, and that is why they must break up, and she thanks him for the days she spent happily with him, and she leaves him and walks away, breaking down in tears, but he is not able to do anything for her. In the hospital, her father wakes up, and she keeps crying and apologizing to him, and he tells her, "I just don't know what I will say to him when I meet him." As for Tuya, he returns home and finds all of Lin's things in their place, and the next day, he makes a video on the internet to clear his name, and when he goes to the company, all the employees treat him as if they didn't see anything and hand him the work files, and he is happy with their behavior that they are not pressuring him, while Sun goes to visit Lin. He sat talking to her about how ungrateful this Tuya is and how they took him in and all that, so she defended him and asked him, even if his father made this mistake, is it his fault? So he got annoyed and slipped up, telling her, even if his father was the cause of your father's disability now? From this slip, she knew he was the one who leaked his true identity, and she told him, take these gifts and get lost. At this time, the project owner met Tuya and told him about his friendship with his father back in the day, and reassured him that this news did not affect anything regarding their work on the project, and asked him to continue as normal. We returned to Lin, and her colleague in the office informed her that they needed the files of her work to be able to work in her absence, and she told them she would go back to get the laptop, and he reassured her about Tuya, and that they were treating him as if nothing happened. She returned to the house and started gathering her things, and at that time Tuya's mother entered and introduced herself to her, and Lin got up to leave, but Tuya came immediately, held her, prevented her from leaving, and told them, now the introduction will be official. This is the girl I love. Later, Tuya reached the man who helped Sun's father on the day of the accident and continued working, knowing he was hiding evidence that would doom them. So they kidnapped him, and he told him, if you don't tell me where the evidence is, I will finish you, and if I let you leave, they will finish you, meaning you are dead either way. Then he told him about a factory to investigate, while Lin was sitting at night searching for the same factory, because while she was gathering her things from his house, she saw the notes and all his investigations and knew he was seeking his father's innocence. The next day, Tuya went, he and his uncle, to this factory, and there he found someone and chased him, and Lin appeared and confronted him because he hid everything from her and acted alone even though the matter concerned her father, and she left him and walked away, and he went after her in the car telling her, I will drive you. But this time she exploded at him because it turned out she knew nothing about him and did not know all this darkness inside him, thinking life was all rosy. So he took her, explained to her, and told her the whole truth, and that he was hiding it from her until he proved his innocence, because he was afraid for her and didn't want to drag her into all these issues. And here, Sun's assistant came and informed him that all the supplier account information was leaked, and Sun knew who was behind this, of course. And Sun's father was in his office having a flash back to when he was fighting with Tuya's father and pushed him accidentally, and he fell from the balcony. The next day was the time for Lin's father's discharge from the hospital, and Tuya sent his friend with a car specially equipped for him with a wheelchair and a private nurse too, telling him, this car is at your service anytime. The next day at the company, Lin went and gave these documents to Tuya and informed him that Sun was the one who sent them to her father and published all his information on the media. Then the manager entered and told him the police were there because all the secret supplier accounts had spread on the internet, originating from devices inside their company. And when he went down to them, the policeman said he needed him for investigation for other reasons. So he held Lin to reassure her that everything would be fine and went with them. Later, he went to Sun's house and started beating him up, telling him he was the cause of her father's accident. And Sun hit him back, then told him, all this is because you always take the spotlight and I can never do what you do. Even Lin, after she knew your whole life, still defends you and has your back. When Tuya left him to go, his mother came out calling after him, saying, you were the cause of my husband's scandal. Will you be happy when I lose my family for the second time? He told her, oh please, honestly, when you said my family, were you counting me with you? And he left her and walked away. On the other side, Lin was at her parents' house, but her mind was elsewhere, distracted, and she dropped a cup from her hand, broke it, and broke down, in tears, apologizing to her father that she tries every day to forget him, but can't stop thinking about him, and that she wants to face all his problems with him. And her father did not know what to do except comfort her, so she ran to call him and look for him, but his phone was off, and she didn't even find him at his apartment. Then his mother called her, telling her to reassure her about him when she found him, and that she didn't mean the harsh words she said to him, and told her what happened. Then Lin knew his location and went to his game club immediately and told him, I was sitting there thinking who you are and what you are hiding, but never mind. Whatever it is, I want to stay with you. She stayed the night with him, and the next day day she made him breakfast and went down to shop at the supermarket and heard employees in the market saying that the last row marked with a vertical sticker is a sign for restocking and that this is a distinctive known move. Lynn got an idea, but as she was leaving the market, we see someone walking behind her, and afterwards, a message came to Tuya's phone making him go to Sun's father with a brave heart, but he threatened him with Lynn, telling him, "You don't know where she is right now, do you?" So Tuya immediately called her, but she didn't answer, and Sun's father told him her time was short, and one matchstick can do a lot of things. Indeed, he had kidnapped her, and the fire started spreading in the warehouse she was in, and she woke up trying to open the door but couldn't until she lost consciousness. But at that moment, Tuya arrived and got her out, and she woke up and reassured him, and we see that she was the one who sent him that message, telling him he might be hiding the evidence using the same supermarket stocking method. He actually called his uncle and had him go to that place and break the mold and finds the flash drive inside containing the evidence and reassures her that they found it. And the next day, Tuya goes to Sun's father's house, confronting him with the whole truth and that his father's death was not suicide or anything. And he plays him a voice recording where he tells him, "Even, brother, the letter of suicide you wrote was the height of stupidity because your father used to call him by a name other than his real name." And while Tuya lists the calamities, Sun's mother breaks down crying while he kept saying stupid things like this is his end and that he saved him from people's talk. And when he felt he was speaking nonsense, he decided to stay silent. And the police come while Sun gloats a bit. And afterwards, Tuya goes to the hospital to Lynn and stays overnight with her. And the next day, the news of Tuya's father's truth and innocence spreads. And Tuya goes to visit his father's grave and finds his mother coming to apologize to him for thinking badly of his father all this time, even though he was a child and knew the truth and did all this to prove it without hurting her feelings. And she informs him she is finishing her divorce procedures and returning to America, asking him about his relationship with Lynn, saying as soon as they make it official, she will come immediately to be beside him. Then Tuya goes to Lynn's parents' house, bringing them many gifts, and they are standing acting romantic under the house when her father catches them and makes them go upstairs. And Tuya apologizes to her father for hiding his life during this period and causing all this. But he tells him, "I forgive you, son, and you are not to blame for all this. So enough gloomy talk about the past." And they play chess together, and Lynn comes to sit with them. So her father asks her, "Tell me, by the way, where did you sleep last week? Your mother went to the apartment and didn't find anyone." Of course, our poor girl chokes on her drink, and he asks Tuya, "When do you plan to take the step?" So Tuya tells him, "I am ready right now immediately." But she interrupts and tells him, "Take it easy on the man, Dad. He just got out a minute ago. I am not planning on marriage right now." And Tuya is shocked and remains sulking at her the whole way back. And when they arrive at the house, she tells him she will stay with him, but he goes up and locks his room, and she tries every way to make him come out, once screaming and telling him there is a spider, another time telling him the toothpaste ran out, and so on, until she keeps screaming, and he comes out to her. So she tells him, "Gotcha, I caught you." Then she starts explaining to him why she wants to delay the marriage a bit, and that she is certainly not playing with him after all this. She just needs to arrange her life and settle down more, then take the step, and he reconciles immediately like a simpleton. The next day, she starts work on the project because she asked him to handle it from start to finish without his help. While for Sun, poor guy, the house became empty around him, and he sat remembering his memories with Tuya when he was young and how Tuya was always kind to him. So he sends him a message wanting to see him, and Tuya goes to meet him with Lynn, and he apologizes to Sun for everything he did. And Sun tells him he will change their company name and leave it to him, and he will travel away from here to start a new beginning. And he bids him farewell again and leaves. Then Tuya takes Lynn for a walk and informs her he needs to travel to America to finish things there. And during this period, she will work on her first project and will live in his house until he returns so she can be the first person he meets, and they spend the day together. And the next day, he is at the company saying goodbye to them and travels, while she goes to his house and finds he prepared a special office for her to work on her project, and she remains. During this period, doing nothing but working, and one day he calls her via video call and asks her to go to the office room and take out a book from there. And he had written a message in it saying that on the day she misses him, she will find him in front of her, and she is very happy with it. And the next day, she presents her project in front of the main financier, who is very impressed by her, and her manager is very proud. So she goes out to call Tuya on the phone and notices the sound of rain with him, and he tells her, "So what? Won't you come out to give me an umbrella or what?" So she runs out, meets him, and they go home. And the next day, they get ready because her friends at the office are throwing a celebration for the success of her first project, and they are going to have dinner together. But Tuya comes, kidnaps her, and they leave together, and he takes her to a building rooftop and makes her see the tallest building designed by him, and they celebrate celebrate together alone in peace and take pictures of this day to document it, placing it next to his picture with his father on the desk. And here the events of our series end. And that's it. Goodbye.